Disclaimer. The video serves informational and entertainment purpose only. The content is considered speculative and should not be treated as confirmed fact. We encourage you to conduct your research and form your conclusion. You ever watch a slow-motion train wreck in 4K with audience laughter and studio lighting? Because that's exactly what happened when Tom Cruise, yes, actual Hollywood royalty, single-handedly torpedoed Meghan Markle's shiny new podcast in front of a live studio audience. No warning, no shade, just a direct hit. On The Late Show, Tom looked Colbert straight in the eye and said, "I tried listening to Confessions of a Female Founder, but I had to hit the eject lever faster than in Top Gun." And the crowd lost it. Laughter, gasps, hands flying to mouths, like the studio had just witnessed a live detonation. And Meghan, let's just say, somewhere in Montecito, a $600 matcha cup shattered in her grip. This wasn't just a roast. It wasn't even a takedown. This was a Hollywood exile notice, signed, sealed, and delivered by Tom freaking Cruise. And the aftermath? Oh, it's messier than a royal group chat leak.
It was special.
Really, I've seen stuff like that on television before, and to be part of it was really special.
It's cool, right?
It's beyond cool.
Yeah. Thank you for being back here.
It's so.
So here's the setup. After stepping away from the royal family, Meghan Markle had one mission: reinvention. She wasn't just leaving the crown, she was stepping into her power. Think Oprah meets tech founder with a Pinterest vision board and a literary agent on speed dial. Enter Confessions of a Female Founder, her new podcast, her rebirth, her soft focus, CEO in cashmere moment. The concept? Meghan would sit down with fellow female entrepreneurs and friends to dismantle the patriarchy over matcha and flower arrangements that probably cost more than your car. And on paper, it made sense. A platform for real talk, women supporting women, unfiltered stories from the front lines of startup culture and glass ceiling shattering dreams. Sounds empowering, right? But the execution? Whew, let's just say, Meghan didn't give us grit. She gave us gloss. The episodes were overproduced to the point of parody. Soft-spoken monologues, carefully timed quivers in her voice, aesthetic sound bites like embracing your feminine power and rising above the noise, while she cradled a mug that literally said CEO vibes. It wasn't raw, it wasn't real, it was like watching a TED Talk directed by Gwyneth Paltrow and styled by a PR firm in Malibu. Even when she opened up about not wanting to prove she's enough, it landed less like a revelation and more like a carefully blocked scene. And the press wasn't buying it. One critic called it saccharine and stomach-turning. Another said it felt like a duchess cosplaying as a tech founder. And NPR? Absolutely savage. They dubbed it emotionally manipulative and narratively hollow. Translation? A pretty gift box, filled with nothing but packing peanuts. So yeah, Meghan's big comeback was already on thin ice before Tom Cruise even lit the match. The thing about Hollywood, you don't have to get dragged to get dropped. Sometimes, all it takes is a joke. So when Tom Cruise sat on that late-night couch and casually mocked Meghan's podcast, calling it unlistenable and comparing it to emotional hostage negotiation with spa music, it was game over. And no, it wasn't just a one-liner. That moment was strategic, because Cruise doesn't riff. He doesn't freestyle on national television unless it's signed off and locked in. And the industry heard it loud and clear. Cue the ripple effect. Spotify, already lukewarm on Meghan after her first podcast Archetypes underperformed, suddenly went silent on Confessions. No reposts, no banner placement, no mention in their spring creator lineup. Her production company sent out a vague tweet about creative realignment, and the guest bookings started dropping out, quietly, one by one. One insider, who was supposedly helping land a Fortune 500 guest, told Variety, the team was pitching a vision, but what Meghan delivered felt like an Instagram carousel in audio form. And then came the kicker. A leaked internal report from the studio behind the show mentioned lack of authentic voice, over-branding, and, misuse of platform. Yeah, not critique, not constructive feedback, corporate-level shade. And what did Meghan do? She doubled down. She released a follow-up episode titled, Why Vulnerability Isn't Weakness, which featured an entire 3-minute intro about how women's voices are constantly silenced, especially when they don't conform. Except no one silenced her, they just tuned out. Because when your podcast starts to feel less like a conversation and more like a pitch deck with lighting effects, even your most loyal listeners start wondering, who is this really for? And with one smirk, Tom Cruise exposed it. This wasn't storytelling. This was strategic self-mythology in podcast form. And now, the myth is cracking.
To prove something, to prove that you're enough, you have to prove that you're pretty enough, you have to prove that you're smart enough, you prove that you're a good wife or a good friend, and I was like, I am just so done with the prove it game.
This wasn't just a bad week for Meghan. This was a rebranding collapse in real time. And here's the brutal truth. You can bounce back from a scandal. You can even recover from a flop. But when the core of your identity, your whole modern Duchess meets feminist media disruptor aesthetic, starts getting laughed off late-night TV, that's a signal. Not just to the public, to the industry. Spotify was already wincing after Archetypes. Netflix quietly scaled down her docuseries involvement. And now, even her podcast production team is distancing themselves, focusing more on technical consulting credits than actually marketing the show. Her brand is adrift. And that dream she had of being a cultural thought leader, of building a media empire that balanced storytelling, sisterhood, and soft-lit empowerment, it's crumbling. Because here's the thing Meghan didn't account for. To lead the narrative, you have to let people in. You have to stop talking at them and start talking with them. But instead of building a platform that connected, she built a pedestal. And now, the audience she once captivated is looking away. And here's where it gets chilling. In Hollywood, there's no loud cancellation email. There's no formal goodbye. The way you know you're done? No one calls, no meetings, no pitches, no invitations to the next Vanity Fair party. It's not a burn, it's a freeze. And Meghan is starting to feel the frost. You know what's tragic? This whole podcast, this whole persona, it started from a place of pain. Meghan wasn't trying to be a mogul, not at first. She was trying to be heard. She wanted to reclaim her voice, to tell her own story after years of headlines that dehumanized her. And honestly, that's powerful. But somewhere along the way, the message got packaged. The voice got polished. The trauma got branded. The pain became a platform. And what's left now? A podcast that doesn't resonate because it's trying too hard to be perfect. And perfection? It isn't relatable. It isn't authentic. It's just exhausting. And maybe that's the saddest part. Because Meghan, for all the critique, the chaos, the curated content, had a real story to tell. She lived through the palace, the press, the betrayal, the escape. But instead of opening the door, she handed us a script, a perfectly lit, carefully rehearsed monologue. That left us wondering if we were listening to her, or just the brand she's been told to be. And maybe that's the final irony. In trying so hard to control the narrative, she's ended up in one she can't control anymore. Not the villain, not the victim, just missing from her own voice.
You know, it was everywhere. Or was a move because you weren't getting enough support from the firm?
She built a platform to speak her truth, but somewhere along the way, she forgot how to be heard. Because in the end, the loudest voice in the room means nothing if no one's still listening. And that's the tea for today, my little gossip gremlins. If you enjoyed this drama buffet, don't forget to hit that like button like it's your ex's new partner's Instagram. Aggressively and with zero shame. Beauty. Subscribe to Fame Files so you never miss a single scandal, meltdown, or red carpet disaster. I'm literally serving up hot gossip every single day, even if my Wi-Fi begs me to stop. And listen, be a doll and tap that bell too, okay? Because your girl Macy's got bills to pay, celeb egos to roast, and a grocery cart full of overpriced almond milk that won't buy itself. Shopping cart money. So until next time, stay nosy, stay fabulous, and remember, I spill it so you don't have to sip in silence. Bye.